Alright, let's talk about some updated common errors again in Cebuano, but this time let's kick it up a notch, alright? And the first thing I want to talk about for out of these three concepts, I guess, is the classic Cebuish versus Cebuano. And again, this is really quick and easy, right? If you're speaking Cebuano and you code switch somewhere in between with English words or code switch with another language, the bottom line question is, are you even speaking Cebuano? No, right? Because you're code switching. You're putting in English words or English phrases, right? And you claim to speak Cebuano, but you're not. So you're not speaking Cebuano. You're speaking Ceblish or whatever Cebuano plus other language there are with Swedish or whatever language, French, I don't know, Chinese, whatever language, right? You're not speaking Cebuano if you're gonna start code switching and start putting in different syntax and whatnot, right? So yeah, that's that. Really easy and quick, right? Ceblish versus Cebuano. Um, was there anything else I wanted to talk about that? I don't think so. Oh well. But next one we have tense of verbs. All right. Now, people who who explain the tense of verbs in Cebuano, right? We Cebuano can be explained through tense, right? You can explain concepts through tense and all Cebuano conjugations through tense, etc., right? But you are going to have a hard time. And this is what I mean by it's going to be difficult. You're not wrong if you explain Cebuano in terms of tense, but it's much more better to explain it for aspect. Because consider this, right? Consider classifying aspectual affixes into tense, right? If mo, mag, ni, nag, etc., and the actor focus conjugations all express tense, whether it's past, present, present perfect, future perfect, whatever, all that stuff, right? If they simply represent tense, how are the other affixes going to be represented? Where do they fall under this tense timeline? You have gi, on, an, I, ma, na, what all these other kind of stuff, right? So think about that. It makes sense to explain them via aspect, whether it was incepted or incepting, completed, complete, incomplete, or stuff like that, right? Started or hasn't started yet. Think of it. So again, tense of verbs. I know a lot of Filipinos like to explain the verbs through tense because they were taught in English when they study English or the English language in Filipino schools. They were taught through the tense way, whether it's past, present, or future. But again, Cebuano is an Austronesian language. It's a verb initial language that has a different kind of aspect to it, right? It's not an Indo European language where it expresses tense, such as French or Latin or Danish or whatever, right? These Indo European languages. So keep that in mind. The last thing I want to talk about is this guy. I see this a lot when I go through forums and whatnot, right? Using guy, and the source I'm gonna cite here is from Sunstar Cebu. It's a newspaper actually. So using guy. Now consider this following sentence. Ang akong pangalan kay si Juan, right? So I'm not saying this is wrong, but in the standard Cebuano dialect, this is considered grammatically incorrect. Right now, in other dialects, it might be correct. Okay, maybe in Cebu City, it could be acceptable to say ang akong pangalan kay Juan or kay si Juan or whatever. But in the standard Cebuano dialect, this is totally incorrect. And I'll come back to that later. The other five examples I have are ang pangalan nako si Juan, si Juan ang pangalan nako, si Juan ang akong pangalan, si Juan ako si Juan. They are all acceptable and all correct, right? They all introduce the name Juan. I am Juan, my name is Juan, right? Um, but this guy just means because. It doesn't mean anything else. It's just because, right? It doesn't mean some sort of flipped word order or whatever, what have you, right? I am not sure about the origin of where this guy came from in this kind of sentence, but I think it has something to do with Tagalog influence. Though don't quote me on it, I don't know where it came from. However, this may seem like a dialectal difference, right? Definitely in other dialects that are non-standard, it's acceptable, but for the Cebuano standard dialect, this is not acceptable. Look at it this way through what's being marked, right? Actor focus, no, I'm sorry, not actor focus. The ang family of markers is marking Juan, right? So that's why C always goes with Juan. Si Juan, si Juan, si Juan, right? Ang is marking which our noun here. And what is our noun? My name. Akong pangalan, right? Or pangalan nako. Depends on that ergative preposition, right? As long as they're all moved around and they mark each other, it doesn't matter about the word order as long as they are all keeping marking each other correctly, right? In keeping each other in check by being marked. This guy, however, it has no relationship with the marking in it. So where does it belong? It's just kind of ungrammatically sound, right? There's no relationship with the marking next to it, right? And that's just one thing I want to put out with you, right? So if you want to say the proper and real way, grammatically way in standard Cebuano, you say, ang akong pangalan si Juan. Or any of these other ones are acceptable. Now, again, Kai can be acceptable in other dialects, just not in the standard Cebuano dialect. And I think that's all I have to say for this video.